Yeah. Nasa Danguban, so there's time for us to cover this lecture. And so that next Saturday, you can work already with your plans for your special problem. Okay, so this is chapter one, writing the introduction. So most of you have experienced writing, of course, your thesis, writing your chapter one. So this lecture would be more of a reminder or a review of the things you should write and you should not write in your chapter one. Consider this also as a tip on what panel members would look for in your chapter one. Okay? So your chapter one would differ depending on the kind of research design you will be using, but majority would contain the following parts. I also gave you last time, I don't know if I gave you, ito bitang skeleton, like what will your chapter 1, 2, 3 contain? Nakatay nakuha na, no? Based on USTP guidelines. Practice, nakatay nakuha na? Did I? Did I not? I think I gave, probably. Okay. So a chapter 1 contains background of the problem, the framework, theoretical or conceptual framework, statement of the problem, hypothesis, if there are, no, and scope and limitation and significance of the study, and then definition of terms. So when we background of the problem, in background of the problem, remember in our lecture in MMR, there are four things you have to establish in the background of the problem. Number one is you provide a context on what you plan to study. I call this as the overview paragraph. The background of the problem also help your readers understand why your study is important. Muna atong gitawag og justification, where you establish why your study is important. And sometimes many beginning researchers find this difficult, kani, because in the introduction it's very general. O muna ang kasagaran problema sa magsulat ng mga beginning writers kay their background is very general. They speak about PISA, they speak about teams nya. Kung tanawin mo ilang paper, dili man related. How does the paper address PISA problem? For example, buta nato kang Ron. Ron's work is on developing a teaching strategy and then use it in the class. Nya nga naman mag-istorya siya og PISA, ang gitarget ni Ron is just conceptual change. Mura man to, very specific conceptual change. Yang ano magistorya man ka sa problema sa tibok Pilipinas. Walang common problem. Yang maglisod dayon og highlight sa why the study is important because the ambition of the researcher is very big, yet the study is very simple. And there's nothing wrong with studying very simple topic. What's important lang is you contextualize your study. Sige lang, we'll give more examples later. And the next is you have to establish your gap and muni ang pinakagalisdan sa tanan, no? As in, sa puto na ko magbasa, balik-balik, dili gid maklaro unsa ang gap. And this can only be established if you have done good literature review. If you did not do good literature review, you cannot establish your research gap. Okay? I'll give sample papers I've written later how we establish the research gap. Okay, if dili mo gud nimo ni ma-establish ning research gap, dili gina madawat imong paper in top journals. No? Pagbasa pa lang nila daan, automatic gitawag na to og desk rejection, where the editor automatically rejects the paper and does not even send your paper for peer review. And then finally, your concluding statement will be your purpose statement. So as I've said, general overview, brief literature, research gap, and then purpose statement. Kana lang yun, four parts. Your general overview can be one paragraph or two paragraphs the most. Your brief literature can be one paragraph, depending how good you are in synthesizing. And then third is the practical or the research gap. And then finally, or kani sila, pwede ni sila combine. And then finally, your purpose statement. You talk about what overall design you will be using, And why is it important to use that kind of design? Okay? Sige. Example, a general overview. So here, in this paper, we highlighted what has been studied in that field. Like for in the last few decades, educators have emphasized developing scientific literacy in science education programs. More so, and the standard rationale for studying science subjects in school is the achievement of scientific literacy. Kaya mo topic mo ganda ni scientific literacy. So, I established dun sana sa scientific literacy. And to prepare students to do well in science, the science teacher is often considered to be one of the most influential factors in increasing quality of students' total science learning outcomes. In addition, teachers are vital in improving scientific literacy achievement at all levels of education and so on. Muna ang general overview. So, imo lang i-establish what you're studying. Parani, there's another paper we did. So here, biochemistry as a course has a broad scope of material describing cherba. And here, because of this, students with a lack of skills needed to grasp related concepts, the biology and chemistry of things, quickly forget important lessons in biochemistry. Several reports have shown difficulty among students, both high school and undergraduate, in learning concepts in biochemistry. These challenges in learning the course may be attributed to the usual lecture-driven delivery, which involves arduous coursework full of dense information which easily overwhelms students. Similarly, assessments often employed are multiple choice formats and so on. So, morning overview of the problem. And then brief literature. So here, Kani, we describe what has been studied on scientific literacy, what has been studied on self-efficacy, and then, yeah, muna mong istoryahan diya. Any pod, nga paper, among istoryahan ni, different approaches to instruction have been used in biochemistry to address various issues in learning, which include poor student performance, engagement, and learning outcomes, to name a few. For example, technologies like watching in-class videos right after class on the same topic have shown to improve cognitive process and learning outcomes in medical school setting. Aside from using multimedia platforms, interactive learning environments involving cooperative learning, problem-based learning, inquiry-based learning have been used in biochemistry. So, naghatag ko og literature. Ginoon sa rin pagtudlo si biochem. Kani akong gistoryahan, ginaon sa pag-define si scientific literacy in different papers, ginaon sa siya pag-measure and so on. So that this will lead me to the gap. Here, for example, the teacher's self-efficacy beliefs have been consistently found to be correlated between teacher classroom behavior and student achievement. Furthermore, teachers who exhibit openness to new ideas demonstrate greater levels of planning, enthusiasm, and are committed in their profession. More so, mo ni akong gap. Although there was correlation, caution must be taken into consideration since general correlation was only observed and not considering that scientific literacy and self-efficacy are multifaceted variables. Shun and Boone found that reservist teachers who possess fewer alternative conceptions had higher efficacy levels. However, Morrell and Carroll claim that science content knowledge is insufficient to improve teacher self-efficacy. This highlights the existing debate on how scientific literacy is correlated with self-efficacy. So, nakita ninyo?
Yes, sir.
Yun sa pag-establish. Another example. Another approach that has been gaining significant attention among chemistry education scholars and practitioners is the employment of game-based learning. One reason for this is that educational games promote active, constructive learning and make learning science a fun experience by means of educational games. In addition, for example, a study utilized a card game to help students master chemical formulas in a general chemistry course. Another game was also developed to help students master differentiating monosaccharide isomers. Meanwhile, another card game was also utilized on protein purification. Aside from being used in biochemistry, Games are also used to teach concepts in DNA, particularly genetics and evolutionary biology. These results demonstrate the great potential of using games, specifically card games, in teaching various concepts in biochemistry. So here I described nga na ay mastering chemical formulas, na ay differentiating monosaccharide isomers, and protein purification o DNA dayon. Muna akong gi-describe. Ngano man, ngano na akong giingon, ngano ako nang gipangingon. Kaya among topic ani was developing a game on monosaccharide classification. So here I've shown that diri ra taman ang pagtudlo sa games. Walay about monosaccharide classification. Dito din ako gi-highlight ang purpose statement. So here, katong sa isa ka paper to scientific literacy ningon din ko. Thus, this study builds on the correlation between teacher scientific literacy and self-efficacy by utilizing a method previously used in the literature, canonical analysis, in attempt to bring clarity to this important teacher curriculum relevant question. As such, this paper seeks to address the following question. Muna nila akong objectives. Okay? Katong sa isa, this paper aims to design, develop, and evaluate a card game that can be used to help students master classifying simple monosaccharides based on the number of carbon atoms in the chain and the carbonyl group present. Further, the game was used in a high school class to evaluate its effect on the improvement of academic achievement and to explore their game experience. So nga na story ba? Nabantayan ninyo? Magsugod ko sa overview, sa problem, then literature, what has been studied so far. Based from the literature, unsa dayon gap. From the gap, unsa rin mo gusto buhaton. Kita ninyo, sumpay sila tanan. Dili bitaw ambak-ambak na istorya kag PISA. Dito sa imong overview, abot tayo nimo, maghimo na ba kag teaching strategy. Yan sa may connection na itong teaching strategy sa PISA. Layo. Nasabtan, nice story. Nice story. Na siya storyline. Yeah. Usually, deductive atong strategy, pagsulat, deductive, overview, imo din pagamyon. Ngano kaya ingana? Pagamyon hangtod unsa din gusto buhaton. Yan ang technique. Yeah, I've been using that technique for some time and I have published more than 50 papers already using that technique. So go work good siya, diba? In fairness. Okay. Now we go to, sige, na question sa background of the study. So that's how you write your background of the study. Na question? Wala. Okay. Sige, we go to theoretical framework. Dili galisod halos tanan. Kani kabalo sa ilang pangbutang sa ilang theoretical or conceptual framework, di ba? Sige, let's break down framework. No, it's frame and then work. So meaning it's the structure of your work. Your theoretical framework should clearly describe what your bases are for your study. So magdepende ni siya unsa ang kind inyong paper. If your paper is qualitative or quantitative. Generally, for quantitative research design, a theoretical framework describes the theory that you will be testing. Kay quantitative man ta, a theory that you will be testing. Qualitative, on the other hand, the theories there are used as your basis for exploration. Like, why would you ask these kinds of questions for quality? Because you believe that according to the theory, these are related. Mo na ang theoretical framework sa quality. For quantity, on the other hand, it's testing. Like, for example, you've highlighted a certain theory there. Sa so, connection na sa imong study? Because you wanted to test whether that theory holds true to your sample, to your experiment. Like, for example, sa complementary example, uh, technology acceptance model, TAM. TAM states na siya to look about variables. Sige ito ma'am, perceive views, intend to use, and katudeng social peers, di ba? If your peers are using it, then there's tendency nga you will use it. So motutulon niya ka variables. So if you're doing quantitative, dapat imo tong i-test katong tulo. Like for example, you're doing a study on whether teachers utilize technologies, educational technologies or not. So you would measure whether na ba sila intend to use. So you would ask questions about their intent to use. Second, their perceived usefulness. Do they find the technology useful? And finally, katuda yung social, whether their peers are using it as predictors to their use. Eh nga na, dili kay magbutang lang kay theory mo lang siya i-describe but wala din siya gamit sa imong study. Sige, I'll give you another example. In my work, in my dissertation, not prods man akong study. Uh, sorry. Not prods man akong study. The theory I used is the theory of the theory of optimal use theory. It's optimal utilization theory. What that theory states is plants ni siya, no? Plants produce secondary metabolites in response to not optimal utilization, sorry, optimal defense theory. Plants produce secondary metabolites in response to threats. Yan na yung theory. And these metabolites are stored in the parts of the plants that are often damaged by predators or prey or herbivores. So nga na ang theory. Manang theory, optimal defense theory in secondary metabolites production. And it's used to predict where plants store their metabolites in plants. And I use that in animals. Kaya kung study kay on starfish man, sea stars. Yun sa nako pag-test ang theory. So kita na ako, if ang mga if not mga plants, if ang mga sea stars on found in marine protected areas, meaning they are not usually threatened, do they produce metabolites or not? Okay, based on the theory, what would you expect? Ingunta sa theory nga, if the plants are threatened, they produce secondary metabolites. Now, I collected starfish in a marine protected area which are not threatened by population and anthropogenic, not population, threatened by pollution and anthropogenic activities. Would you expect starfish to produce secondary metabolites? No. Diba? Because there's no threat. And according to optimal defense theory also, when plants are threatened, they prioritize production of secondary metabolites and not growth. So meaning, ang mga plants gagmay, but daghan og metabolites. Sige, sa akong starfish, what would you expect? What would you predict based on the theory? They don't produce secondary metabolites, and at the same time, they are big. Dagko ilang size. Because they will prioritize growth and reproduction. Muna ko gitest, tanawin ko dito sa ilang mga size, i-correlate din ako ilang size with their production of their metabolites. Nagets ninyo? So you're testing the theory. So dili lang ka pwede mag-istorya-istorya dia o theory sa imong theory, sa imong theoretical framework. Nya wala dito nimo gigamit sa imong study. For quanti as predictors, for quali your the variables that you will be exploring. Kasi quali man god is theory generating. While si quanti theory testing. So dapat sa inyong theoretical o conceptual framework, dito makita kung are you testing a theory or exploring a theory. Like for example, quali. Kato, magamito na to si Tam sa quali. Tulo ka buok imong variables. Peers, perceive of use, o intent to use. So dapat, ang imo pangutana, ingadto nga mga questions, and you would like to explore whether those three really not predict, really affect their use of the technology. Pwede po ka na idugang nga lain nga theory. Ngayon so, napo day lain theory gaingon nga uh, napoy lain nga variable nga predict for their intent to use. Pwede daghan, mo din na mahimo na rin siyang conceptual framework. Let's differentiate later unsa na si theoretical, unsa pa na si conceptual. When do you use theoretical framework? When do you use conceptual framework? Okay? So, yeah, we'll describe them in a few slides later. So, when we write our theoretical or conceptual analysis, we also look at what is the level of your analysis? Is it at individual level, group level, or organizational level? Do you seek to understand the attitudes, perceptions, and behavior of people? So your theory should be anchored on individual analysis. Tapos tayo group analysis. Do you seek to understand how groups or teams interact with each other? Or do you seek to understand organization level? Okay? Sige. Like for example, here, there's one theory here used like Herzberg's two-factor principles. So if this is the theory that you would be using in your study, for example, if it's experimental, sound money, job satisfaction. So according to Herzberg's, employees are, for example, teachers are satisfied with their job when they are influenced by these factors. So imo ding tanawon, imo din i-measure achievement, recognition, responsibility, and see if it relates to job satisfaction. So that's how you use a theory to in a quantitative study. Kung quali. So if you ask participants what are the reasons why they are satisfied with their job, dapat kani ang manggawas as your themes. Diba? And these would manggawas if they are dissatisfied. Nasabtan, that's how you use a theory. Dili lang na siya char-char diyan. Yun yung pabutangan ng mga constructivism. Wala permente. Mostly abused theory in the theoretical framework. Hindi naman nila ito makita how constructivism is used in the study. Papaulayan na ninyo sila Jean Piaget. No? Nangamatay na papaulayan na ninyo sila. We use more reason theories. If you don't know it, then meaning it's reason. Wala gitudlo sa inyong pag-swila. Lagan kita mga nindot ng mga theory, no? Nga ginagamit sa education, mga bago na pwede na to sulayan. Ano po, customer satisfaction, there's serve qual, no? Uh, na theory gigamit, no? Like for example, we look at the tangibles, reliability, responsiveness, assurance, and empathy. And this predicts customer satisfaction. So if you design learner, for example, gamito ni mo na siya in education. If you look at whether students are satisfied in their learning, you would look at the tangibles, reliability, the responsiveness, the assurance, and the empathy in terms ay hang total service ngayon kuha sa education. Nga naman siya paggamit. I-relate ninyo sa inyong study. I-relate. I-integrate sa inyong study. Okay? Then team development. So, dagan pa ni. No? Ito lang ipang skip. So, napunta gitawag nga descriptive frameworks and causal and explanatory frameworks. Katatong ipang istorya ganina, kanimo ni matong mga causal or explanatory frameworks. They explain why things are. Napoy gitawag na to mga descriptive frameworks. Like for example, science process skills. The framework on science process skills are characterized based on the following indicators. That science process skills are observing, classifying, finding conclusion, predicting, but they're not explanatory. They don't predict variables. They just describe what science process skills is. Ano yung tawag? Descriptive framework. Dili siya explanatory. Wala siya cause and effect. Okay? Kani, sa mani. Another framework used to explain how learners are educated in the 21st century. So, dapat you would look at learning environments, teachers' professionalism, leadership, and then partnership. I think this is the one used by DepEd now to in their science K to 12. Although, lahi naman po nila kaya na naman sila ay matatag. Kumuning gigamit ni DepEd to address 21st century education. So this is descriptive framework. Kani, more of causal framework. So here, we look at technology evaluation, technology invention, problem diagnosis, and then theory building. So, kani siya nga theory ginagamit in developing educational products. So first, you look at what are the problems that require technology solutions or educational technology. And then you produce technology, invention, design, and then evaluation. So this shows how the work, the research is guided, is situated. So, okay? And then very importantly, when drawing your schematic diagrams for your theoretical or for your conceptual framework, you make sure that you have a justification for each of the hypotheses embedded in the framework, like IVDV, independent variable, arrow dependent variable. Why do you hypothesize that your independent variable will affect your dependent variable? So yun yung explain. And avoid including variables like age, gender, education, or income, uh, just because they're easy to collect, unless you're testing their effect. Diba? Nari sa inyo mga diagram. Common kaya na. Ato kayo mga eskwelahan nga mga bukot-bukot. Permi yung ko ana. Perminti ko ginahimo external panel sa kanila mga gagmay nga mga eskwelahan rin. Nga sa putod ko. Ila ko ga istorya kaya basi ko nila ibitaros. Perminti gina. Kanang what is the demographic profile of the teachers when grouped according to age, gender, education. Kaya dili na magamiton. Pabot ito, ila lang i-describe sa ang age, gender, but walay pulos ba? Why do you collect age, gender, and you don't use it for your analysis? Like, are you comparing the the teaching competence with respect to gender? Then that would be a good gender study. But if dili mo sila i-compare, walay a thorough analysis, walay pulos to nga data. So why do you put it in your framework? Okay? Aside from the diagram that shows hypothesized relationship between variables, there must be an accompanying narrative explanation explaining the basis for believing that such a relationship exists. Mo din yung magawas in yung mga theory. Like, for example, if you believe that the ADI will improve conceptual change, why do you hypothesize? Because you believe that when students are given opportunity to inquire, or opportunity to discourse, that improves their conception. Mo na yung ipang istorya dito ron. Okay? Sige. What's the difference between a theoretical and a conceptual framework? Very easy. Theoretical framework, you have only one theory to test. Single, formal basis of your study. If it includes multiple theories, you are combining into one and you call that as conceptual framework. Si theoretical framework, usara ka theory imong gina-test all throughout the study. Then if you have multiple theories to explain different variables in your study, then you call that conceptual framework. Sometimes, in pure sciences or even applied sciences, common is the theoretical framework. Usara man atong gina-eksperimentuhan na. But sa ato sa mga behavioral sciences like education, common si conceptual framework. Kadagan man ta variables gusto kunan. So, unsa na dapat part sa inyong chapter 1? Theoretical or conceptual? Kamo rin makatubag. Pwede gali po sa inyong chapter 1, buwag-buwag, like theoretical framework for phase 1, theoretical framework for phase 2. Pwede nga na. Oo. May mga paper nga kung nakikita nga na. Pangutana, makasulat na og theoretical framework unya, Ma'am Jaisel, basin. So dili lang ni siya kay kami sa una no, guilty gyud ko na. Kami sa una katong college pa man gitudlo sa amo aning theoretical framework kay mag pagsulat nan dia unsa mga theories nga related sa inyong study, no? Nga na ang gitudlo sa inyo, nga na ang gitudlo sa amo. Yeah, ginatunglo na to na ako nga teacher. Joke lang. Kaya na, wala problema. Okay. Of course, they only teach what they have, what they've been taught when they were still students also. But muna, if you look at mga undergraduate thesis, mga master's thesis, theoretical framework yun, wala yun. Mga kung siya, compilation of different theories. So, yung ginagamit na yung constructivism, mga nga na ginabalik-balik pirmi. Kapag yun nilagay, papahulay si John Piaget. No? Ano na siya papahulay yun? Pa-rest in peace na lang. Sige, punta istorya sa iyo. Nagka naman kayo mga bago nga mga theories. No? Okay. Okay, now we go to, wala pangutana sa theoretical o conceptual framework. Wala. Sige. Statement of the problem. An answerable inquiry to a specific concern or issue. It forms the base of where you are going. And generally, the statement of the problem, they're organized chronologically. No? Naka-order na siya according to how you will do your research. Except if it's a convergent design. Ganyan. A convergent dungan man. So, pwede ra gyapon niya dili chronological but mostly sequential gid atong gagamiton. It should be clear, focused, concise, and arguable. Okay? I think that's clear. Ito mga ta example. Ano. Basta kinala na naka-pattern niya. It's not answerable by yes or no, but rather requires synthesis and analysis of ideas and sources prior to composition of an answer. It's narrow enough that it can be answered. It provides enough specific that one's audience can easily understand the purpose without needing additional explanation. Kadumdum na nung ko na ay ng quest na ay nag-defend atong Feb 5 man siguro, proposal sa math. Yeah. Gi-revise na mo yung question kay kami gali panel members, wala mi nakasinabot. Wala dili parehas among pagsabot sa question. Oh. Na isa ka panel nga niya pagsabot, isa ka panel nga niya pagsabot. So meaning the questions were not very clear, very specific and focused. That everyone in the defense understood what the student wanted to unravel or explore in the quali component of the study. Grounded theory, mga to, unang medyo purely quali kay siya. Okay? Sige. Hypothesis. It's a statement that introduces a research question and proposes an expected result. It's specific, testable, prediction. So we have different kinds of hypotheses. You have simple, complex, or directional. No, for simple, if it predicts the relationship between an independent and dependent variable. Complex, if there are more independent and dependent variables. Directional, if it's kind of clear, like it improves, it positively correlates, nga na, dili siya multiple direction. Napunta kita og non-directional, associative or causal hypothesis. We also have null and alternative hypothesis. In USDP, we only report hypotheses or hypotheses that are statistical. So if the research is qualitative, we no longer present our hypothesis. Kaya na mga qualitative studies, na po na sila mga hypothesis. But sa ato ang formal research, dili nato siya ginabutang. Okay. Okay. For example, nag-study ka, you wanted to explore the factors that affect this certain variable. Tama kay mga hypothesized variables for your quali. Ganoon na tama kay mga preconceived thoughts. What you think are the factors that affect that kind of variable. Diba? But sa ato ang sa USDP, dili na nato na siya gina-describe. What we only use are statistical hypotheses, katong mga hypotheses that require statistical testing. And we reflect only the null hypothesis. Okay? Muna itong format sa university. Then we go next to significance of the study. So it's a section, although not often read by your panel, but it's also good if you write significance of the study because later when you involve yourself in a funded projects, when you become full-time, big-time researchers, importante niya yung significance of the study. Okay? Many research projects are rejected because the significance of the study are not clear. They do not yield to actionable, measurable recommendations. Okay. Usahay ang ilang mga suggestions kay mga nakigibot nga to direct nara, no? Mga motherhood statements, no? Remember that your significance of the study should be very specific and do not use motherhood statements because this is not a political campaign. Diba? Wala makagayon nito nga, I will change the world. Dili nga na. Dapat mga specific that this teaching strategy can be used to improve this variable. Ano, di kami nga, this will solve the problems of kuan katong learning gaps. So, it should state the specific contributions you made to the knowledge and how does this benefit the different stakeholders. Okay, dapat manggod unta. Ang kanang significance of the study, it would yield to your recommendations. Actionable recommendations. If nga na mo results nakita, what then could this contribute? Like for example, Ma'am Giselle, sige to, institutional practices on critical thinking. So, if na siya ma-develop ng instrument, parang sa manento, it can be used by schools so that they can reflect, they can evaluate the institutional practices. Si Ron, maghimo og lesson mga learning plans for ADI. Kung may klaro adto nga benefit, it can be used as reference for teachers interested in targeting conceptual change. O Ma'am Silva, she wanted to develop laboratory experiments or exercises that are cheap, easy to do. So, klaro adto nga significance. It can provide as a material reference for teachers, for schools, and so on. Klaro ba? Unsa yung gamito? Dili kay, it will improve the quality of science education. Okay, kulba kayo. Murag, kuhan, si BBM. Charot lang. Sorry, Ron. BBM ra ba na si Ron? Okay. Scope and limitation. Okay, the scope and limitation is often the most kanang taken for granted part of the study. Kanang bitang dili maklaro what you wanted to do. Yeah, and the scope and limitation should often dictate the implications of your study. Okay? Later when you do your conclusions of your paper, bubalik mo sa inyong scope and limitations. Kasi pasabot ana, sir. For example, if your study only utilized pre-experimental design, so you cannot do a conclusion that is super solid. Now, you would say that this strongly affects this. This variable strongly affects this variable. Why? Because the experiment that you conducted is not a true experiment. It's a pre-experimental design. One group from a pre-test and post-test. You can only say that this may have an effect on this variable. Kaya dili man to true experiment. You did not hold other variables kanang constant. Diba? So, every time you go to your conclusion, always mobalik mo sa inyong scope and limitation. I remember, I read one paper. Familiar mo ng brine shrimp lethality assay? BSLA. Si Ma'am Silva familiar, diba? Since sa ilang investigatory project, ma'am, no? Kanang brine shrimp lethality assay is a toxicity assessment used to see whether an extract or a compound is toxic or not. And ilang buhaton na is at different concentrations, ibutang 10 kabog brine shrimp, mga nupli sa brine shrimp. Tanawon din, pila ka hours, pila ka buk mamatay. Yan. I read a paper. The title of the paper is Anti-Cancer Activities of this Extract. Uy, Kuyawan ko kay anti-cancer activities. Pumunta akong gusto studian sa akong dissertation. I read the paper. Natingala ko, ang iyang gibuhat day. BSLT ra, BSLA. Yan ang conclusion, anti-cancer activity na yun. So you see, the scope of the study only utilize toxicity assay. Yang ano man ang iyang conclusion, anti-cancer activity na. Emailan dito na ko siya nga offer. Oh, ba't akong email actually? Dili nang away. Akong email sa kanakutan ako siya yung gibuhat. And nag-lisod man ko og extract sa sample. Nakutan ako siya yung gibuhat para ma-extract niya. Anyway, so the scope and limitation of your paper should define the topic and the boundaries of your research. Because this topic and boundaries will then have a good, not have a good, will have an impact on the kind of conclusion that you will be writing. Because this will yield to the implication. Like, your conclusion is limited by your limitation. Sige. Like for example, ang imong survey, kanira kadaghan nga mga sample. So dito na po taman ang imuhang conclusion. Adto ra nga survey. Hindi ka pwede ma-overextend. Hindi ka pwede man. Therefore, science teachers in the Philippines are poorly educated. Nga ibang survey mga tagang Gendio, di ba? So, mubalik gid mo always sa inyong limitation. Tagantang mo example later how you write your conclusion with respect to your limitation. We'll get back to that in a short while. I-remind ko kasi malimot ko. Okay, scope and limitation. Kani si scope mo gitawag na to delimitation. So dili na mo magbutang og delimitation because that is already the scope. And limitation of course is the limitation. Kaya pasabot na ng delimitation. Delimitation refers to the boundaries of the research study based on the researcher's decision what to include and what to exclude. Like for example, your sampling criteria, that's delimitation. That's the scope of your study. Ikaw nagbuot. Sir, nga naman ang researcher magbuot. The reason why is so that the research will be doable. Because if you do not have a scope, you do not have a boundary for your research, then it will not be doable. Ano ka makikahuna-hunaon? So, imo lang i-limit. Dili na ko taman. Muna akong scope. Muna niya akong kaya. Ganun yung study, pre-experimental design. Kay bugat naman kayo if napay comparat control group. Wala, delimitation. Limitation on the other hand is kanang beyond sa control sa researcher. This speaks about the validity and the reliability of your study. Like for example, the kind of design that you use, uh, the kind of instruments that you use. O, naman na sila own nga mga limitation. Like for example, nagkatong amo ang study Ma'am Silva katong we look at the confidence of teachers in teaching different topics. Ang yang limitation adto sa instrument is it was just perception. Teachers might feel nga it's difficult to teach, but at the end of the day, it doesn't mean whether they're good at teaching the topic or not. Di ba? For example, di ba naka-identify man mi og mga least confident topics. Katulog ang uban, confident daw sila, dili necessarily. Di ba? Kay perceive naman to siya, perception na sa imong respondents. Pwede, kato nga mga topics, feeling lang nila maayos sila, but it doesn't mean they're good at teaching those topics. Because you did not do classroom observation, wala ka nag-objectively check whether maayos sila at mga topics. Mo to iyahang limitation. Okay? Nya often kaning limitation magdepende ni siya sa method nga imong gigamit. Kada method na sila yung mga limitation. Like imong statistics gigamit, na sila yung mga limitation. Kuna mo balik ka always sa imong assumptions. If your statistics met the assumptions of your study. Nya usahay dili, kada ka pretest post-test. Nya imo ding data dili normally distributed. So dili ka pwede mag-t-test. Di ka pwede magamit og si tawag ani parametric nga stat imong gamiton non-parametric nya kanang non-parametric na po na siya iyang own nga mga limitations. So later when you examine the kinds of statistics that you will be using, balik din mo sa inyong limitation sa inyong conclusion. Dili sayon ba? Dili day sayon dagan kay kahula-hulaon kani nga stat sa iyang limitation ani unsa ra taman yang kaya buhaton. And you need to cover both delimitation, the scope, and the limitation. Okay? So when delimitation, this refers to the kind of objectives, the kind of research questions you ask, the research variables that you will be measuring, the target population, the statistical analysis. On the other hand, when you speak about limitation, this often have to deal with the issues of your sample. Are they normally distributed? Are they well represented? Are they randomly selected, purposive? Is it sufficient, insufficient? Does it represent the whole population? Does it, or there is a lack of previous research studies, and so on? Limitation of your instrument, limitation of financial resources, or funding constraints. Okay, finally, definition of terms. Simple running, definition of terms are the detailed explanation of the terms that are uniquely utilized in the study. If they mean the same thing, like test, pareha naman nag-meaning ang test mo test o sa kanang test in the normal setting, you don't have to define it. But if you refer to critical thinking differently as the ones in the dictionary, then you have to define it. No itong gitawag og operational definition. Okay? You may also indicate the tool or measuring device used to measure the variable. Like for example, critical thinking is a variable measured utilizing this instrument and so on. Okay? Okay, sige. Maghatag og example sa how to conclude with limitation. Ano kayo ba? Sige, kanina ba? I think na ano. Nya kanya ako mga ibang istorya sa inyo, dili ko master ani. Mga bago ra po na ko na nga-learn and I learned these things because of peer review. Ano bitaw mag-submit ng paper. If you submitted your paper in a top journal, ilang ginakasasaan, pas yun gina nila bira-biraan. And based from the revisions that you do, you get to learn these things. Nga naon eh. So, mag-submit ka sa mga predatory nga mga journal, sawa jud kay matun-an. Kaya ilan naman i-accept automatic by challenge. Kanino, this is the International Journal of Instruction. This is a Q1 journal, no? Yung challenge na it took 1 year for balik-balik, revise, ano nga paper. Man itong canonical correlation nga technique among gigamit. It's a statistical tool we use that is not often used to describe uh, paper. Describe correlation in education setting. So among gigamit. Ads. Okay, so muna yung gigamit. We use this figure to show which variables have an effect, are correlated with each other using one graphical plot. So again, let's go to another conclusion. The present study has some limitations that may have implications for further studies. For example, the present work was based on a small sample of primary and secondary school teachers in Cagayan de Oro City, which may not represent all science teachers, scientific literacy levels, and scientific teaching efficacy in the Philippines. Although the results provided us some clues on how scientific literacy influences science teaching efficacy, a more extensive study involving many participants would be more desirable. Second, the study relied on self-perceived measures to assess personal scientific teaching efficacy as well as subject-specific self-efficacy, which may not adequately assess their teaching efficacy. Self-reported data may not always provide an accurate snapshot of teachers' actual beliefs. As this study was exploratory in nature, further studies may be done utilizing qualitative or even experimental methods. Further, confounding variables like educational attainment, gender experiences may be explored and not covered in this analysis. So akong gipatay akong study. Imong gipang cite ang mga criticisms. But dili bot pasabot pangit rin yung study. Mo din ingon din diri. Mo din bawion. Mo din gitawag nga implications. The study had some limitations The results still provide meaningful and practical implications for teacher education curriculum and teacher professional development. Because self-efficacy beliefs are formed early in life, a focus on development of high levels of science subject knowledge and STS is desired in the design of the teacher education curriculum to build science teachers' teaching efficacy. In terms of in-service teacher professional development, attention may be given further improving their scientific literacy to effect quality science teaching. So nga na iyang drama. Okay? Pangutana. I'll stop recording.